Greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to TFT presents Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. And this is Oberon bringing you the emotional skinny, the emotional currents and undercurrents in your life for the next week. That week is Friday, November 20th to next Thursday, which happens to be Thanksgiving, and that's the 26th. So in this week, we will attempt to tell you all the things that are going on that you may want to be aware of that may affect some of your emotional connections with people or just bring you surprises or challenges on that emotional spectrum. So we start off with the collective thought for the week, for which I will read from the Isis Tarot, a modern tarot that sort of combines tarot elements along with traditional fortune-telling elements. So I've used it here for a while. It's not really a tarot, but it's kind of got some of the properties. So I normally just pull a random card and go for it. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh, and I pulled the same card from last week, ironically, the Sphinx. So I'm going to look that up again so we can read that real quick. Kind of interesting that it came up again. Reserved, discreet, intuitive, meditative, waiting and trust, faith, patience, religion, mysterious, hidden knowledge, initiation, secrets, riddles, a period of mysteries and mystical immersion. So my guess would be that maybe I pulled this card just because some of those astrological forces that affect us emotionally and mentally and otherwise are still in play. Different things are going on always, really. I mean, thank goodness for the dreaded Mercury retrograde being over. But so I think things will present opportunities to involve ourselves in our intuition and into our deeper sense of what are our own set of symbols, collective symbols, or whatever you want to call them, that guide us, that give us intuition, that maybe prepare us for things or let us know that little faint tickle in the back of your head that says, something's up. So that's our collective thought for the day. And as usual, this is a reading based on the elemental associations in the tarot. So, for example, you have earth signs, air signs, fire signs, water signs, and so many signs fall into whatever category. So, for example, we're going to start with our friends, the air signs, and there's a lovely picture of Kuan Yin for you. I thought I'd throw a little Eastern motif in there. But air signs, these are signs like, let's put that back a little bit there, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And this reading is for them. It basically will talk to what situations or things going on that are probably concerning the air signs. Air signs tend to be a little bit more logical, a little bit more thoughtful, that kind of thing, but not always. Hey, when it comes to emotions, anything is possible. So we do this reading from two decks of cards. One, we do the Glypkos Tarot for the word of the day, and then I also use the Ancient Egypt Tarot by Clive Barrett. Okay, so we're going to do that word of the day thing. Word of the week, I should say. Pulled randomly. What is the word of the week for the air signs? That word of the week is avarice. Now, avarice is one of those, old-fashioned-y kind of words, like I have mentioned before, that sort of means dislike, distemperament. It could possibly mean willful hatred. Usually when a person has avarice, they are plotting something. So I'm thinking air signs, you should be aware of whatever ticks you off, whatever creates avarice in you, but you should also be aware a little bit of maybe the avarice that other people are sending to you. So be aware. It may be that not all is well in the emotional temperaments, and that maybe there are some folks on each side of your equation, your own feelings about people or about other people. I mean, we're in a pretty trying time right now in our country, let alone the world. So I could sort of see how this applies to a number of situations. Alrighty then, so now we're going to go on with the regular reading. And our first card, gotta watch that, is what emotional happiness will you air signs find this week? And I have pulled the reversed Ace of Wands. And so I'm just going to suggest, let's put that one there, that maybe certain delays, certain things that are maybe being scaled back may make you happy right now. The Wand cards are all about enterprise and about social networking and other kinds of networking. It's very business related. It's very social related. It talks about people's personal magnetism as they try to create influence for good or maybe not so good. And I'm thinking that maybe if there are some delays, if there are some slowdowns or some change of plans, this may make us happier right now. Throughout most of the world, the infection rates of COVID are really rising again, and some communities, some municipalities, legislations, whatever, are dealing with whether or not they wish to infect stronger orders, a lockdown kind of situation. Another thing could be that maybe, and I'm thinking of this, it just sort of intuited to me too, that we've had recent news about vaccine productions, and some of them are going ahead and some of them are a little bit delayed, but overall maybe this idea of this form of enterprise, and wands to me are also health and growth, maybe the idea that there are some delays that maybe are based on actual good things like testing and regulation and trials. These things may be also filling us with happiness, or anything that even sounds similar to that, where anywhere you think that maybe a delay in something to provide more introspection, consideration may effect more positive outcomes, this will bring you happiness. Let's just say it that way. So our next card is what emotional challenges or surprises might you face this week? Oh dear, that's about as bad as it gets. It's the upright Three of Swords. And that pretty much tells us that maybe air signs are going to be faced with the possibility of a breakup or a real hard time emotionally, real great unhappiness, strife, separations. Maybe it's possible somebody is going to be very ill, maybe other things. We don't always want to talk about that stuff. Normally, the Three of Swords isn't really about death or very bad illness. It's really more about things that rend our heart, separations, or things that we feel are so painful that maybe can never come back together. This may be the challenge or surprise you face, air signs, when you find that maybe there is a big breakdown. It could just be a breakdown in communication. Swords a lot of times talks about, and this is something typical to air signs, is the communicative aspects, the air sign aspects. So I am wondering if, just if we're having, and it's Thanksgiving week, as we move through this week ahead. And of course, with everything going on socially, politically, emotionally, etc., this could also be indicating that we're not going to be totally happy with each other, or maybe if we are enforced to be separated from people due to quarantining, etc., these things are not going to be happy. They're going to be challenges and maybe bad surprises. So now we're going to go on to our final card, and we have another ace, and this is what will concern our relationships this week, whether they be romantic, family, platonic, co-workers, all of those kind of things. And we have the upright Ace of Swords, and I'm thinking that that is a counter to the other ace, of course. But what it really says is that there may be folks around us who are really going to be trying hard, getting their act together, breaking out, striving forward. Maybe people are starting new jobs or starting new situations, new circles they're joining, new things like that, just basically getting involved in, typically Thanksgiving, that weekend kicks off, one of the biggest shopping seasons in the American states, and one wonders how that's going to go this week. But I think that a lot of times that Ace of Swords also talks about ingenuity and the mental surprise activity of being able to conceive and implement things. And so I'm thinking that many of the people around us that we care about are going to feel that. And maybe we're going to be a part of that. Maybe we as air signs, us air signs, that's not me, but you guys will be looking at ways to further that, to help people strengthen their connections, to help people forge ahead. So a pretty good week in a way. There is a little bit of pain, but there is also the sense maybe that a lot of this is due to externals. And that's what I have for the air signs. So now we are going to move on to the fire signs. Fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You guys are tending to be a little bit more on the forward, progressive, pushing it ahead. You tend to be brave, fierce, that kind of thing. So let's give you a word of the week to see where things start off and how it goes. Pulled at random. Oh, fire signs. The High Priest, also known as the Hierophant in most other tarots. And of course, I see the nice image of Anubis there. Anubis is kind of special to me. You know, I like Anubis a lot. I like most of the Egyptian pantheon. I think he's called Ampu in the actual Egyptian. I'm not remembering exactly. Sorry about that. But anyway, so with this card here, I think fire signs are going to kind of preside over a sense of tradition, a sense of societal expectation. It's all good. It's really about maybe conventionality played for the idea of peace, I think. I think this is really talking about peace in our time, you know, that maybe fire signs will find that over this next week they're going to be able to rise to a level of benevolence, counseling, being instructive and helpful to people. So I like that. I think we'll just stop right there. And now we're going to go on to our reading. Fire signs. I'm going to do this off of the table because I know it makes a real loud clattering noise because of the mic there. Now, what emotional happiness will the fire signs find this week? And we have the moon reversed. Moon reversed. I think we're finding out some things this week. I think some of it may be about emotional situations that have felt wrong, felt false, deceptive, duplicitous. So I think that maybe for the fire signs, when you are able to pierce together a mystery, that mystery may be affecting you emotionally, maybe affecting people around you emotionally. It may be finding out somebody's true intentions in the emotional realm. To me, a lot of times the moon, just due to traditional folklore, is sort of about romance and relationships and love. And so if it's reversed, maybe there's the sense there that maybe we're going to find out that somebody is not caring for us as much as we thought they were. And why would that bring us happiness other than the fact that maybe we kind of were realizing there was a deception going on there? So it could be a couple of those things. I'm not saying it's specifically that, but I wanted to throw out a couple of ideas there. I think that when we discover whatever it is, and it's mostly a deception that maybe we already kind of knew, we fire signs, and that sounds more like a Scorpio thing, but I can relate to that too for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I know you guys are very insightful. So this is what's going on. You're happy when you find out things. So what emotional challenges or surprises will you also face this week? And it's the Princess of Discs, which is also the Page of Discs or Coins or Pentacles. And the page reversed, it's a reverse card, would seem to indicate that we're having a little bit of a time staying focused, that maybe we had kind of a vision of some things that we were looking at, mostly that knowledge, and so it maybe ties into figuring out the plots going on in the moon reversed. But maybe this is really going to be a bigger challenge than we think. So maybe the opportunity to sense mystery, deception is there. We have that feeling. But the implementation of that is going to be a little bit of a struggle, that maybe there is something going on that's a little bit hidden there and that we really will have to work harder. It may also be, too, that maybe we may just look at that and say, it's a challenge or surprise, but I really want to move around that. And so maybe the surprise is that we're just going to kind of leave that alone, at least for the time being, and just focus on something different. So I could see either of those happening too. Now, finally, what will concern our relationships, platonic, co-workers, family, romantic? And there it is again. We had that as the word of the week. It's the Hierophant again. Only this time it's reversed. So that's kind of interesting, because there he is in the other one, the High Priest, as he's known there. But over here he's reversed now, and this is what concerns our relationships this week. And so I'm thinking that maybe, despite the fact that we're focusing on the common good here, other people maybe are challenged by that, or they're concerned, at least, because they sort of feel things are not really the way they want them. They're not the traditional Thanksgiving, beginning of the holiday season, that kind of thing. And so you will have to be using these powers here of maybe getting to the root of what's really going on. I mean, maybe that mystery is the fact is that there's just some people who really are having such a hard time dealing with our current state of affairs. And you fire signs, you're going to have to be as insightful, direct, etc., and bringing that sense of conventionality to all the people around us who maybe are really perplexed, feeling out of sorts, out of love, out of emotional care, because they just feel that the world is not quite the way they want it. It isn't for anybody. We have to all figure out how to pull it together. So that's what I have for the fire signs. And yeah, I feel it on an emotional level too, quite frankly. These are certainly the times that try the person's souls. So now we're going to go on to the water signs. And water signs are, of course, the ever watery, emotional Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. You know, sometimes we just don't even understand ourselves, and sometimes we don't know why we end up crying in the middle of the day when we're thinking about happy things, or gnashing our teeth bitterly because maybe somebody else got ahead. That's more Scorpio than Cancer or Pisces. I'll just have to admit that. But, you know, that's what water signs are, is that emotions can be really confusing for a lot of people. And even we don't necessarily understand ourselves. We just know that there's a validity we feel strongly about what our emotional current is. And mostly, like everyone else, though, we just need good guidance. So thank you for coming to my reading, if that's why you came. So let's start off with the word of the week. And the word of the week for water signs is alliance. And so where other signs so far have seen kind of like a sense of dissension, or, oh, we got to pull things together, water signs maybe this week will say they are ready to ally, they are ready to be a part of the solution. I'm not saying that fire signs or air signs are not, but maybe water signs, because they always take the form of whatever container they are in, whatever environment they're in, they just mold that form. And so I think water signs, they're more adaptable in some ways. They're just more adaptable, they're more fluid, they take the form of what is around them, and so they try to help out in that sense. And I think that's your word of the week, water signs. You need to just continue doing that, continue being as nice as you can. Scorpios, be on your best behavior at the dinner table Thanksgiving. It's just me and Banshee, so I think we can do that. Anyways, let's get on to the reading. And I want to remind everybody, since I've been speaking about me and Banshee, that Banshee also has her own program, which is on Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's called the Material Matters. It's more or less the opposite of mine. I deal with the emotional ranges of the week, and she's going to deal with the more material ones. So it's the tarot keys to finance, business, success, employment, and more. So watch that on Sundays. And now for the rest of the reading for the water signs. What emotional happiness will you find this week? Oh, you got a good one here. You have the upright King of Cups. So I think the emotional happiness is kind of like being Papa Bear, maybe, all you water signs. You're pretty much the head kahuna when it comes to loving care. I mean, other than the Queen of Cups too, but the King of Cups is more like that personality, male or female, who is the true counselor, who is the person who really goes out and is magnanimous and brings just a magnification of all good emotional things to you. So that's what you find happiness in, is being that person and reflecting that to people and feel people understanding that about you. Now, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face? And you have the moon, like our friends the fire signs did, but your moon is upright. And so the emotional challenges you face are really the deeper understanding of all those currents around you, that somehow water signs, you're really going to tap into all the properties of the moon and all the special magical, mystical things about emotionality and about understanding love in yourself, understanding love that other people have for you or for other things. You're kind of the master here. I just have to combine that with the king and just say you're really the one who's bringing it to the table. Even if you're not going to be physically present, maybe you're going to be in a Zoom, you're the person who really is showing the love. And maybe you're also shining light on all those other parts of the family or the situations emotionally around you, because the moon shines a light. It's a reflection that maybe shows something different than the sun does. Maybe we're helping each other understand all of that unconscious stuff that puts us together as the family of human. Alrighty. So finally, what will concern our romantic relationships most this week? And I have the reversed Seven of Discs, or Seven of Pentacles. And so it's reversed, so that means that the qualities are a little bit altered. And I think what that's saying to me is this is a time now for people around you, emotional relationships, romantic, family, friends, best friends, platonics, co-workers. All of them are going to start to feel it's time to really do something. It's time to stop thinking about everything that's been going on. This is kind of a weighty card, because for months and months and months, we've all been wondering when things are truly going to get back to normal. Maybe now the realization comes amongst our friends and family and else that we have to all work together. We have to stop looking at what's growing and bring it on home. You know, it's about, finalizing the deal, bringing the bargain home. So I think that's what we got for the water signs. Mostly good. You're kind of doing better than, in some respects, than the other signs were. So we're going to move on to close out our session with the earth signs. Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This one's for you. Tells you what's going on. So first we'll do the word of the week. And earth signs just tend to be a little bit more sturdy emotionally. They're not as plussed, or they're more nonplussed about emotional baggage that may come up at them, things like that. They tend to be reliable, steady, easygoing, think before they speak kind of people in general. Word of the week. And I just said that. Word of the week, premeditation. So this week will especially be a week for you to think before you act, to meditate, to think thoughtfully about your actions or about what consequences are. You want to be very careful this week, or you are just in your element this week of really being wise without having to really talk about it. That basically you reflect that. You know, it's kind of like her over here in a way. And I don't know if that's Kuan Yin or who she is. I just kind of like her. So anyway, that's for you guys, your word of the week. We'll go ahead with the reading now. And like the schedule shows there, don't forget to watch our live streams. Also, we've had some recent really cool videos. We had our past lives reading in honor of our 39th anniversary. So it's past life reading. We'll be doing another past life reading for everyone on Saturday after Thanksgiving. So that's the 28th from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. There'll be more announcements about that, but basically be there, be square. It's going to be a scream. It's going to be a lot of fun. But watch that past lives video if you haven't seen it. You may find it quite interesting about Mr. O and Banshee, what we did in a past life. We know we've had a number of them, but this was a particular one. So, Earth signs, what emotional happiness will you find this week? The emotional happiness, I think, is in the doing. It's the Prince of Discs or the Knight of Pentacles. And the emotional happiness is really in the solid progression of your plans, the solid moving forward. You don't care if other people think you're just boring, trudging along at your tasks, because you know you're building. You are a builder. You're building your life. You're building what is important to you. What makes you happiest is really moving ahead and implementing your plans. You know, you don't mind moving steadily towards something because, excuse me, got some burps there, because you know that it will be better for you in the long run, that what you are building will bring you great emotional happiness. It's really that realization that your plans are going ahead and that it's just a matter of time as you work forward on them. Now, what emotional changes or surprises will you face this week? Well, okay, there is a downside. The Ace of Cups reversed may suggest that it is possible that maybe there's somewhere in your emotional realm that needs more attention, because maybe they're just not feeling the love right now, and maybe there's a long distance relationship going on for somebody that you really need to kind of, you know, touch base again, or just recertify, revalidate that you guys are the one, you know, or whatever that is in your life, you know, something maybe that recently has brought you love and happiness, maybe feeling on the rocks a little bit. This is a challenge for you to address. It may not necessarily be the exact same thing as that first card. It may be that first card could be the way that priorities are working. It's what it feels to me like maybe you're really more about business when you need to put a little bit of attention towards your emotional part of your life. So consider that. And then finally, what will concern all of these relationships most this week? Family relationships, co-workers, platonic, romantic, all those. And it's the Ten of Pentacles. Oh my, this is so good for earth signs. You had some really interesting earth stuff here. That Prince of Discs and now this one. And this is family. So this is like for your family, for your romantic or whatever relationships, the idea of family. All of that. You know, I mean, some people in our co-workers feel like family to us. Some people that we just know as good friends are our family. All of that. These folks are really in the spirit. They're in the spirit and feeling all of that connectivity with you and with your greater spheres. They're just feeling that there's so much good there. The solidness, the solidarity. It's just all really good, and you really enjoy it a lot. There's really nothing better for this going into the holiday season. It certainly is. Sounds like earth signs especially will be having a wonderful Thanksgiving where it really feels like family again, no matter how you're doing that, Zoom or otherwise. So I just want to say in closing, be safe, everybody. Take the time, to weigh all the issues and do all the right things. Enjoy the holiday, enjoy Thanksgiving. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy love and peace and emotions that are prosperous and good for all people. So mote it be. Until next week, thank you for watching. Bye.